Yeah. Music by my brother, Young Ace. How y'all doing? Good evening. My son, my viewers, my conscious one. How are you on this Sunday night? Today, 2 minutes ago. Not even 2 full days. What are you doing? How are you preparing? What are you doing? What is it giving? Is it just about fun party turn up? Or is it a little bit of party turn up with a little bit of work in there? Or is it just work, construction, reconstruction? What's going on? Systems taking Bria, by the way, something nice in life or something that, yeah, that's, that's how we do it. It's not perfect. It's never going to be perfect. But it's always going to be true. That's always going to be fine. That's always going to be, I'm good. I'm good. You're good. We're good. Shout out to Young Ace. Shout out to Young Ace. Let's bring it back. Shout out to Young Ace. The song is I'm Good, featuring Sways. Rest in peace to Sways. I believe he was a young man from Queens that my brother collaborated with. He's the feature on this track, but it's I'm Good with the E, Goode. Look it up on YouTube. It's on YouTube. I'm Good by Young Ace, Jungace, featuring Sways, Swaze. I believe the young brother Sways passed away. Rest in peace to Sways. Talented brother. Never got a chance to meet him, but his verses just fire and cool and just laid back as he appeared to be. And so yeah, let's shout out um the young man that's journeyed on from this place, Sways. But shout out to my brother Young Ace, Bed-Stuy, Mano, Brooklyn, family. Let's go. I wish it was somehow. Mouthpiece, my conscious one. Where are you? How you doing? What is the energy? Where do you find yourself? How you feeling? What are you thinking about? What are you excited about? What are you nervous about? What are you second guessing yourself about? What are you questioning? That was Young Age. Now this is young man who passed away, I believe. Perfect. I'm good. You're good. We're good. I'm good. We're good, conscious one. We live it, you know? We're present. We're conscious. I'm good. You're good. You're good. We're good. The conscious one, the collective, we're good. You know, we're not perfect because we can never reach that state of in this lifetime. It's possible, your journey, the time that you know, depending, you know, depending on your time. So you may be a person that can reach nirvana, but you have, excuse me, you have Buddhist monks and Tibetan monks and priests and many people from all types of, doctrines and religions and philosophies that, you know, go for years and years and years, to reach that. I think with some monks, it's, I mean, I'm not even going to cap, but I think it's many years that you have to kind of, be in an energy of like you retreat from the world, you're out of the world, and you're submerged in this basic um life, this energy of just purity. And there's no outer noise, there's no outer thoughts. Um, and so that, but for most people, we live in the noise. And so we got to get out of the noise, get out of the noise. But this topic, this video, this live is about fake friendships. Okay. You're fired. You are fired. When are you gonna? How are you gonna? And why you need to fire those fake friends, why you need to fire the fake friend groups, just the people in your life that need their walking papers, people that are taking up space, they're serving no purpose, you're giving, um, whether it's just your time, you're listening to the problems, you're helping them out, you looking out for the, like, it has to stop. Not saying that you're selfish, but like, you'd be surprised how many of us get caught up on relationships. Well, sorry, friendships. How much friendships play a huge role in our lives, how they tax us, how they contribute, how they bear a certain amount of energy and responsibility. Like, especially if you're a real friend, then that, listen, this is somebody that, you're going to sacrifice for. This is, and people throw the term around so loosely. Like, what is a friend? How do you determine a friend? What is the criteria? How does one become a friend? How does someone show themselves to be a friend? What are the requirements? Like, how do you judge friends? How do you look at someone in terms of the basis of friendship? Like, we have so much skewed, like, thoughts, and and people are caught up on friendships for the wrong reasons, and it's just weird. It's just it's like it's all almost half baked, like it's only half prepared, it's only half measured. It's like friendships, they begin in one way, but then it's like, you find yourself, like I said, it's half baked. You're the one pushing, you're the one giving, you're the one sacrificing, you're the one accepting, you're the one, you're like always that one. You know what I mean? You give, you know what I mean? You're always the one to kind of, always take the high road, and that's fine and that's virtuous. But like, I mean, friendships, in my opinion, are supposed to be kind of like a two-way street, right? And so the laws of like give and take are at their most, like, they're at their most, they're at their highest peak, right? So there should always be a give and take. But then true friendship, when I say give and take, it's like it's not like a measuring of like you did, I did, but it's like, there should be an equal an equal underlining commitment, in terms of like, even if we live in a different state, even if we can't see each other, I make an effort to call, I may not get you, you make an effort to call back, you may not reach me, but then there is no bad blood, there is no animosity, there is no resentment, there is no feelings of like, well, why, it's just a pure mutual exchange of what I believe a true friendship should entail, like if you're a friend with someone, right, and they're like a real friend, like you can go 2 months without speaking to that friend. And honestly, like it may be a text or two, maybe it may not, but if they're your true friend, chances are they kind of know you're the type of person that may get low, that may kind of withdraw yourself at some times, depending on your situation. Or maybe you're the type of person that when you're going through conflict, you're going through challenges, guess what? You may withdraw. Maybe you're the type that when find yourself in a new place, having a new experience, maybe meeting someone new, you kind of get tunnel vision, if you will. And so now a good friend recognizes and understands who you are and your behaviors. And obviously, if they're a friend, they know you. And so they know you, but they should really know you. And so even if you get caught up in this and caught up in that, and it's weeks that you haven't talked to them, a true friend would say, you know what? I know this girl, this lady, I know this guy, this man, and I know who they are. And so, okay, it's just another one of those times. And that's not making an excuse for anyone. That's just being, um, in my opinion, a friend and a real friend, because a real friend, with real friends, you are accepting. You may not be so much like in agreement, excuse me, but for the majority of the situation, you're accepting, because with friendship, there's compassion, there's empathy, there's love, there's care, concern. There's all these different, ways in which we and it's very similar to relationships, right? because our friends are very close to us. They are very dear to us. We hold them in these certain regards as we do relationships, but obviously, you know, there's differences obviously in, relationships, romantic relationships between men and women, then friendships and things like that between men and women. But it's like, you know, excuse me, friendships are weird because like you can know someone for 30 years. You could have a friendship for 40 years and may not know someone. That's your friend, but how many times have we heard, read, and seen where, someone is a friend of someone and it's like, darn it, I never knew they would even do that. I never expected. They never showed any signs. It's because you can know someone, but the reality of it is that we'll never know. And more often than not, excuse me, for many of us, we don't even know ourselves, our true selves, outside of the matrix. And so it's a slippery slope, but friendships are very important, and it's such a necessity, and it's such a need to really like put friendships in the categories. Like everyone is never going to be a friend. Like I don't get people and I've never gotten people that they start a new job, or they move into a new neighborhood, or for whatever. And within a few days, an hour, everyone's their friend, and like you have to be careful of people like those. And people need to be careful when they see themselves like, excuse me, being one of those people that always want to, befriend, or always so quick to befriend. Because the reality is, yes, we're all a collective. Yes, we all are like, souls and things like that. But not everyone has the light. Not everyone. Well, you know what? I'm sorry. I'll rephrase that. We all have the light, but not everyone has the light on. Not everyone chooses to turn on the light. And so for many, it's darkness, right? And so their actions, their life, their moves, their attitudes, you know, usually, it it's surrounded, and it's, you know, um, enveloped in a sort of negativity. But for those who actually turn on the light, it's important to understand, like I used to date a guy, right? Actually, my last relationship, it was for years, and he was of a West Indian Caribbean background. And he always used to say that his grandma, I believe his grandma, I don't know which side, paternal, maternal, excuse me, but that he always said that, he was told by his grandmother that friends will lead you, right? Friends will take you, but they won't bring you back. And so when he always used to, he always said that many different instances when he was kind of reflecting on his life, and perhaps on the times and the experiences that it was a close call situation where he could have lost his life, where people he know lost their lives, where, um, life hung in a balance, and it was a matter of, words, or, I guess the grace of the universe on your side, you know what I mean? And so, you know, how many of us have been, led by friends in bad situations, how many times have we gone out of our way for friends and we wound up being the ones in the problems, And so it's like, when do where do you draw the line, you know? And you don't want to go around with a measuring cup, obviously, you can't. I'm speaking figuratively. In terms of like the value you have in your friends, the experiences, the times that they were there, the times that they sacrificed for you, the times that you were able to call on them, the times that they were there with support, they were there in the dark, they were there in the mud, they were there in the rain, like whatever, have they shown up for you in ways in which you have shown up for them? Or maybe it's not even a matter of, it's never going to be equal, like to me, depending on the situation, you may be financially in a different situation than your friend. You may be in a different type of, um, place in life. And so what you're going to bring and what they're going to bring, obviously, is going to be two different things, right? And the differences kind of make the friendship cool. It makes it interesting. It makes it a place for growth, right? Because you always kind of want to pair yourself with somebody that's, kind of a little bit more advanced. I mean, you continue to be with the same people, same friends on your level. It's like, okay, where are you going to go? It's always good, if to surround yourself, like I said, and even if they may not be in a better position per se in terms of finances or whatever, but that for the very least, they have a good mindset. They're positive, they're going someplace, they operate out of a certain type of energy, they encourage you, they want to see the best, not only for you, but for themselves. It's like you got to also look at relationships like friendships like that. I mean, you don't want to be a judge to people, but it's like at the end of the day, if you got a friend and like they're a constant deadbeat, like if they never try, if they always make excuses, if they're always looking for a handout, if they're always blaming someone, if it's always an issue, you know what? At the end of the day, God bless the child that has their own. And even if you don't believe in God, the universe always works with someone that conspires for their own betterment, and they move with positive action and good intentions, right? And so it's like, who wants to be around that friend? Excuse me. That's like every time you talk to them, it's always like the worst, no matter what. It's like it's all, and with this talking, I gotta go and I gotta get me a ciggy, there you go. I gotta get a ciggy because it's like, you don't expect your friend to be like exactly the same as you, right? But a true friend wants for themselves the same as they want for a friend. And so when you have a friend that's like constantly, always in a bad situation, always in a bad relationship, it's like, are you supposed to just be there saving grace forever? Like you signed up at, like, for whatever reason, you may not even signed up, but like you're a friend. You're not a savior. You're not a magic fairy, And so what do you do with these friendships that are just draining to you? You know what I mean? That don't really serve a purpose. It's like, excuse me. like I said, everyone is going through things. Everyone has their own issues. Everyone, um, is battling something. People are trying to accomplish things. People are trying to get rid of things. People are trying to manifest things. People are trying to seek things, find things, end things, learn things. People are trying to grow. People are trying to heal. People are trying to seek a better way out. Like, people are, in my opinion, I believe for the most part, we all want a better way, right? We all want to be better. I don't believe anyone wakes up in the morning and they want their life to suck. I don't believe that anyone wakes up and they just want to be in a state of like stress and turmoil. And like, who wants that? But you will be surprised that it could be some friendships in your life that really got your life messed up. Like, it's not even you. Like, it's not even your relationship. There are some friendships that many of us have that has been the black cloud over our lives, that has been a negative force, that has been a draining, disastrous, kind of just force that keeps us stuck. Um, it's like the lines are so blurred. It's like, is it a friend? Are you their mom? Are you their dad? Are you their counselor? Are you their healer? Are you their doctor? Like, are you their religious like advisor? Like, it's many of us that have these friendships that just are taking. And, you know, it's important because in reality, these relationships, these friendships says a lot about our own self, right? So it's like, if you're in a friendship that, you've been in for 10, 20 years, a homeboy you went to high school with, a homegirl you were in junior high school with, someone you were even in the sandbox with, but you found yourself at a place where obviously everyone grows, everyone has this different experiences. But if this friend is like still operating out of the same mindset that they were 10, 20 years ago, like, that's a number one red flag that it's time to give that friend the slip. They got to go. Like, if there has been no growth, and listen, everything happens in time. You can't look at your life and your growth and your ascension and your abilities and your capabilities and your accomplishments and judge your friend. No, because like I said, we all are on our individual paths. Yes, we are connected. We are a collective, but we still are having these individual experiences. And so, if you're somebody as a friend that, you kind of always find yourself on the up and up, and you're, strong enough and disciplined enough to kind of always see your way through, always kind of find your way, and you have a friend or you have friends that, always struggle, that are never really motivated, that don't take the same initiative, that constantly look for excuses, that constantly want to be lazy. What do you do with those friendships? Do you continue to make excuses, when it's time to go out? And, for the most part, they ain't got it to pay, and it could be, it's not much. You could be going to your local Applebee's or, Outback, a steakhouse or something like that. And, or the local little sports bar. And, they ordered wings and things or drinks, and they don't have it, and they never have it. And somehow, you have the car, you pick them up, you pay for the to eat. If there is another activity or whatever, you kind of always find yourself looking out for them, or the individual. If it's not that, it's like, you're the one that's kind of always kind of billing them out. And trust me, charity and helping, that's a good thing. Your good karma is building. Don't worry about that. But what's more important than that is the fact of the matter that, you don't enable that behavior. And it may be crazy, it may sound harsh, you may feel awful, but these people are not going anywhere. And eventually, it's just like dead weight. Who wants to carry that around? Like, you have your own weight. You have enough of your own issues. You have enough of your own things and goals and business and priorities and responsibilities. You don't have time to continue to babysit an adult that's like, caught in their own immature, sick traps of like thinking that everything is easy and, complaining and what was me. When guess what? You had to get up off of your butt. You had to pull yourself up by your bootstraps. It wasn't a crystal stair for you. And so you're looking at this friend that always takes, always like, it's too much. It has to end. Enough is enough. Okay? Enough is enough. Enough is enough. Okay? It's time that we get in the office, we get in the cut, we get in the lab, we get wherever we need to get, and we start writing these pink slips for these friends, like you're always the one, to give, or you always the one to be there, but then God forbid you get into a situation, you need help, and suddenly they're nowhere to be found. Somehow they exist outside of you, right? But then when it comes to you, they're suddenly these helpless creatures, right? um what do you do with friendships like these? When you're the one that's looked at as the safe one. You're the one that's looked at as the one that's always going to be there. In reality, they're looking at you like the sucker. And it's time to wake up. So many of us are afraid. Smoking my cigarette. So many of us are afraid to be by ourselves. So many of us are afraid to say, you know what, to imagine our lives without friends, right? But you were who you are before you met a friend, right? Like, again, to me, it's a little indicative of low self-esteem. Yes, I believe a part of our mission, all of our missions, is, human relationships, contact, to experience those things, and that's how we learn and grow. But I also believe in the ability to be smart, to look at things objectively, take your feelings out of it. If it weren't you and you were looking at someone else's life and someone else's friendship, given the same circumstances, what would you say? What would be your analysis? What would be your recommendation? What would you tell someone in your position? And so when we talk about firing these fake friends, we can't negate, and we can't um we can't forget to look at ourselves. Because, like I said, if you're willing to deal with a person that is just so negative, so draining, so emotionally like, uh, that friend, you know what I mean? Or that friend that's just like so impulsive. They're so like living on the edge that, you constantly have to check on them. Oh God, they went out. Well, let me make sure they got home safe. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. But when you're dealing with someone that is reckless, someone that has no real care or concern for their future, someone that just, like I said, lives life on the edge, and that's a friend. And now you're consumed, you know, with the fact of the matter that, oh goodness, I hope they make it home tonight. I haven't heard from them in a day or two. Like, and you're bombarded with all of these negative thoughts. And again, it affects your life. What about those friends, like I said, that bring you unnecessary stress? What about those friends that constantly like bait you into negativity? What about those friends that somehow, no matter how you're trying to live your life, no matter how you have adapted a spirit or a philosophy of peace and kind of to be chill and go with the flow, that once you in their presence and energy, somehow you change, like, and that their negative energy is like, you know it's like some type of antennas or something that you know latch onto you, and now all of a sudden you're going through that, you're stressed, you're short fused. What about those friends that, like I said, are so temperamental that when you go somewhere, you don't know, God forbid, is something going to happen, like it's time to fire them. They got to go. You got to tell them you're fired. And if you don't want to tell them to their face, because it could be a very crazy situation, you have to do the pink slips. It's time to give the pink slips to the friends and the friendships that do not serve you, that drain you, that put you in bad situations, that somehow you become less of who you are in their energy, how somehow you find yourself having bad experiences, negative situations. There's always something with this friend. This is your sign, this is your time where 2024, whatever happened, it's the last time. You're not going to continually pick up the phone in the morning, the beginning of the day, sunrise, and this person is on the other end and they're complaining. This person is on the other friend and they're on the other end and they're venting, especially if they're not like, in the process of self-reflection, if they're not like in a path of change, if they're not trying, if they don't see the error of who they are, if they're not in that energy, then, and they're just calling to trauma dump on you and to kind of unload all of their negative emotions and energy on you, no, it has to stop. When you're sleeping, and because they know that no matter day or night, you're that ride or die, you have proclaimed yourself to be that, you've always shown yourself to be that, and they've made stupid choices, they've done dumb things, they've put themselves in precarious situations, and because they know you are the friend, you're going to be there to bail them out. What do you do when you have to fire a friend? And this could be a friend of 5 months, 5 years, 25 years, 50 years, and 10 days. It does not matter. You have to look at the growth. Everything in life, it has to be growth. There has to be transformation. That's how you know that you are ascending. Nothing stays the same. And if it does, then I don't know. There's certain things, obviously, we know there's an exception. But in terms of friendships and relationships and individualism, like, to me, it's never a compliment when someone says, you know, especially if I haven't seen someone in a long matter of time. I'm talking about 5 years or more, which this hasn't happened to me, but I mean, I've seen it with other people and whatever. And, you know, even depicted on TV and in movies and whatever. And people say, oh, you know, wow, you look the same. You haven't changed a bit. And that can be very controversial. That can be a controversial statement, depending on how you look at it. Because on one hand, it's like, you know, especially if you're a good looking girl, a handsome guy, and, you know, your looks are everything to you. So, you know, if you've always been known as a pretty girl or a hot guy, and you see someone that you haven't seen in some time and they say, oh, you look the same, obviously you're going to take that as a compliment, right? Like, I'm the pretty girl, I'm the hot guy, you know. But in terms of growth, right? In terms of change, like, I mean, I feel like I'm a creature of habit, right? And so for me, I can do the same hairstyle for maybe, you know, a year or two, give or take. And so I don't necessarily have to do anything outwardly to change myself, but, you know, change is always occurring as time changes, as we grow, as we learn, as we experience, right? Everything in this 3D plane and this dimension at this time, as conscious souls, right? Having a physical experience. And so we find ourselves, and like I said, me personally, like, I feel like there's definitely a need for me to do a physical change. And so I feel like when things are changing internally, it's only like a result of what's, like, when you see the outward change, to me, it's a result of the inward change, right? But then, to me, they don't necessarily have to go hand in hand. You can have an inward change, but not necessarily have a physical outward change, right? You can have an internal change and not a physical outward change, but you see your external and the outside different, right? So that's one particular way. And so another way would be that we change on the inside, and as a result of that change and that transformation, it's a change in which permeates the external, and you see a physical outward change and possibly a change in the way you look at the outside, the external, right? So that's the second part. And then I believe the third part is no inward change, right? And an outer external change, right? And so to me, the latter, which is the no internal change, but the outer external change, to me, that's the one that carries the least stability. That's the one that's probably not going to last, most likely. That's something that's just going to be very temporary. But for the former two, which the first being the inward change, right? And no external change, no outer change. But there's an inner change, but there's no physical change, right? There's no physical change. There's an inner change, no physical change, but a outer external change, right? And then the second part is an inner change with an outer change. And so to me, that's all self-encompassing, because you have the inner change, you have the physical outer change, and the external outside change. And so again, how do we look at these friendships? How do we start to really look at them? You know, whether they're, like I said, whether they've been 10 years, whether that's been your best friend since second grade, whether that's been your buddy since, you know, sixth grade varsity, JV, whatever. It's whether you met at church, whether your mom and dad were friends. It's important to assess these friendships, because, again, the last thing we need in our lives are dead weight. We don't need dead weight. And so we have enough that we're burdened with. We have enough responsibilities. We carry so much, right? In terms of just forging and just existing and just living. So we have these external forces like our children and our careers and our family and all of these things that play a part, that, you know, take something that we have to somehow, you know, we have to go through, get through, you know, venture. We have to, you know, associate. We have to work together. We have to collaborate. We have to, you know, forgive. There's so much. So, in my opinion, there is no time, right? There's not enough time. There's not enough space for the dead weight. So it's time now, my conscious ones, that we begin to get rid of the dead friend. I mean, I'm sorry, they gotta go. It's Sunday. This is the start of a new week. This is the final Sunday of the year. Okay. We know these friends have talked about us. We know these friends have done things behind our back that has not been like honest, that these friends have not always operated out of integrity, out of honesty, out of love. You know, what do you do when a friend has been deceitful? When a friend has betrayed your trust, betrayed you, and a lot of times we forgive these friends. How many friends do we have that, you know, have done something and we've broken up with these friends, right? But somehow we've broken up relationships and we kill those, right? But then this friend that has been just as bad and maybe done the same things as the person, you know, the guy or the girl in a relationship, or if not worse, We give the friends a second chance. We get caught up on time. We get caught up on years. We get complacent. Oh, that's my friend because I knew her. Oh, because he was there for me at this point in time. Listen, it's about you getting into what about your friends? And not only that, but I think it's Jody Watley. What have you done for me lately? And that's not selfish. That's not being like, you know, a schmuck. It's being honest. It's being real. Because at the end of the day, if the last 5 situations, the last 5 occurrences, the last 5 interactions that you can recall with a friend or with a group of friends, right? And I would say this, let's just keep it basic and let's just keep it as, you know, realistic as possible, okay? Because I'm never going to come with the hoopla. I'm never going to come with the fantasy. I'm never going to come with the false reality. We reject the matrix over here. This is new life revolution, okay? So my subs, my viewers, my chosen ones, my conscious ones, you know, we operate from a divine principle, and so we don't play that, okay? Yeah, we don't play that. Okay, we play many things probably, and we have cheerful spirits and childlike wonder, and we're so happy and positive, but we don't play with that. Okay, and so for these, you know, friends that we find ourselves, and it's like this is a time of reckoning. This is a time when we really, really, really reflect and say, you know what? Imagine your life 5 years without that friend. Imagine what your life is going to be in 10 years. Don't even put the friend into the equation. So I'm asking you to do 2 things, right? One is to imagine your life without that friend. And 5 years from now, imagine your life. Just what do you think your life would be? Describe how you would see your life without that friend in 5 years. And then I would challenge you to think, and I would ask you, if on January 1st, given you watch this video, you listen to this video, you analyze this video, you internalize this video, and somehow you connected to this video on a real soul, emotional, intellectual level. And this video now has given you maybe a start, a spark, maybe it can be the conduit to you, for you in navigating, you know, the end of these fake friendships or this fake friendship, this friendship that serves you no purpose, that year after year after year, nothing happens. There's never a time when they call you and they have something positive. It's like, oh, I've come across this. This is, you know, there's never a time when they just call to check on you. There's never a time when they just call and just to show you love and say, hey, I really appreciate you. You know, I really appreciate you. You know, good looking for that. You know, I know I've been meaning to pay you back, and I know I said this, but you know, like life is about balance, gals and guys. Okay, there has to be an ebb and flow, a yin and yang, a balance. And it's times in our lives that we face so many challenges, so much dysfunction, so much like unwanted crap, is because for the most part we're and balanced. We're on a line. We're kicking it. We're committed. We're putting into, we're friends. We're loving. We're caring for things, places, and people that do not serve us. And when I say serve us, I don't mean in a way where it's, well, what are you going to do for me? A way that is fulfilling, a way that is enriching, a way in which you feel like a mutual security and a mutual sacrifice, and there's an honest comfort and an honest sense of stability and loyalty. And I mean, for the most part, that friendship is a pie in the sky. Wrong. It exists. But I believe it got to start with you. It has to start with us. Okay. So before we can even demand this of our friends, we have to be this. Because guess what? When we are that, when we are what we want in friends, then guess what? We don't even take on friendships that don't meet those requirements, that don't encompass, you know, those qualifications. So it's like, if I really love myself, if I really care about myself, if I really value myself, if my time matters, if I look at life and time as a precious gift, that, you know, I have a purpose and I want to be impactful. I want to be abundant. I want to have meaning. I want to make a difference. I want to, you know, be an example, whatever your mission is. It has to start with you having that same love, respect, loyalty, and discipline for yourself. And once you are that, then you'll attract that. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes you'll attract that and it's not real, it's fake, it's dressed up, it's a wolf in sheep clothing type of thing. But because you're operating out of that truth, out of that light, out of that peace, the signs will be there. So even if they're a fake friend, it won't take long for them to show their colors. So you're not gonna be a fake friend of mine for 4 or 5 years, 3, 4 years. No, because my energy, my consciousness is not gonna allow me to engage 3D level. So if you're even pretending to be someone operating on a level outside of the 3D, you're operating on a higher vibrational. Listen, life will force you to be real, honey. Listen, when it get hot, the mask fall off. Okay, when the rubber meets the road, when you get to the real meat and potatoes of a situation, you'll see how fast a person proves themselves. You know, get into conflict. You know, you want to test a real friend, get into some hard situation and call on that friend group. Hit up those people that say they're your friends and see how fast they respond, and see not only how fast they respond, but what they're willing to do to assist you and how they're able to show up. Period. And they may not be able to help you physically, financially, but if they're able to just listen to you, that's about loyalty. That's about having love. I may not be able to help you, but I can sit here and listen to you all night. You know what I mean? Or I can just try to give you positive encouragement. So again, it's how do these friends show up? And now I want you, my subscribers, my first time viewers, to think back on them friendships. Look at the friends you got right now that you gearing up to go out with on New Year's Eve to celebrate. And you know that you told this friend something in confidence and somehow you heard it outside of them. Somehow you always wind up, you know, giving and never receiving. That's your friends. Somehow you're always on, you know, putting forth effort. You're always the one that's thinking outside the box, always the one encouraging, and nobody checks on you. Think about these friends. Remember the song, Friends? How many of us have them? Friends. Ones we can depend on. So that's what it's about. My conscious ones, I'm signing off. I'm getting off of here. It's an hour. So again, in light of the end of the year, we are dealing with endings. We're dealing with closing the door on things and people that no longer serve us. People and things that keep us stuck. Friendships and relationships that keep us living below who we know we are. That take and never give. That drain us. That just keep us always at a level of like no elevation. What do? To end 2024, to fire those friends. You're fired. Listen, tell a friend, the friend group, the friend chat, the group chat. Listen, even your relationship. It might even be your girlfriend, your boyfriend. You're fired. You got to go because you're moving in a new direction. You're starting to look outside of the box. The veil is starting to raise for you. And you can't continue with this energy that's like not conducive to your growth. If you stay there, then you're always going to stay there. And I know you want to go further. You deserve it. So fire those fake friends and friendships. It's time to end them. It's time to choose you, choose higher consciousness, choose the light, choose love. For more videos like this, subscribe to my channel. First time viewers, hey, hope you enjoyed the content. Why don't you subscribe to the channel as well? Leave a comment down below, like and share. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend that it's new life or evolution over here. It's higher consciousness, it's ascension, it's love, it's light, it's divine peace. Blessings always. Conscious ones. Till next time.